name is Alan Cifuentes, and I run the Valdosta DIY House.
Hey, I'm Nicole Tiemann, and I am a part of the Valdosta DIY community.
Cool. My name's Evelyn Gray. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns.
And my name is Nicole Maroulis. I also use they, them pronouns.
We're musicians. We play music. Currently, I'm playing guitar on tour with Nicole in their band called Hit Like a Girl.
So when I got interested in trying to run a space like this, I was definitely trying to do something or create a space or an environment that I wanted when I was first going to shows. A lot of the early shows that I went to were in bars or places that weren't as welcoming, especially to younger people or people who had never been before, or things like that. Often when we have shows, and if I see someone who I don't recognize, I'll come and ask them if it's their first time here, and if that, be welcoming and let them know that if they have any questions or if they need anything to let me know. I'm definitely not the first person who's done something like this. There have been lots of people before me who have done shows. My partner used to run a house a block away from where we are now for 8 years. That was where I first started going to shows and seeing how you could have a space like this and have bands coming and literally playing in your living room and making a connection with the creative community.
Yeah, I used to run a space called William Street Shows from 2009 until 2016. At that time, there wasn't a space. Even one of the main bars that catered to something other than a country cover band didn't exist. They closed down, and there was a void for quite a while. I ended up in a space that I rented that used to have a room built around an organ, and the first thing that I thought was, it would be nice to make music in here.
So not only do we have a wide range of musicians coming through, we also have a wide range of people in the crowd. There's always super young people and a lot older people, people of color, all kinds of folks come and enjoy the shows, which is really cool to see. So I have a full-time job, and this is kind of just something I do for fun. I would like eventually to be able to do this like a full-time job and have, this supplement my income. I'm not particularly interested in getting lots of profit from a business. I just want this to be sustainable because I think it's an important thing to have in the community. I really love going to shows, so it's really cool doing it in my living room, and I don't have to go out anywhere. I can just walk downstairs and see a really awesome show.
My impression of the Valdosta DIY house is wow. Everyone here was very welcoming, and everyone here is very nice and accommodating. And I think this was a really cool show. A lot of people came out, and on a Monday night, of all things, it was really cool.
I love it here. I've played here twice before. This is my third time. I've been here before with another project, and as a person who's played all around the contiguous United States, this is one of my favorite places to be and play music. Especially in terms of other house venues, the way that things are set up here, it is very professional level. Alan's doing really wonderful things with the sound and with recording the shows. And additionally, it's always a space where I feel comfortable and safe performing, which is really important to me.
Yeah, I'm echoing the professional aspect of this place. Extremely impressive. I think, definitely in terms of other houses, you sort of just kind of show up and expect it to be pretty grody and I don't know, maybe you expect just empty beer cans all over the place, and I love the fact that everybody was very respectful of the house and to recognize that people live here. And the sound was awesome. We use in-ear monitors, and a lot of venues surprisingly can't accommodate that, and it's really refreshing to see a house venue just be yeah, sure, I got you, no problem. So really cool.
So most of the equipment I've purchased myself over time. I've found checking out Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, sometimes you can find really good deals on speakers or things that would normally be a lot more expensive and big investments. So I was able to find a lot of things that were, not in perfect condition, but good enough for what we needed. We just needed something that was going to make vocals loud. So I had found a couple of PA speakers that worked great. Later on, I got these speakers that I have now that were sort of donated on long-term hold from a friend who picked them up from a dumpster. I guess they were being thrown away, and they were fine. They had a couple of issues, but nothing that we couldn't fix. So yeah, most of the stuff has either been donated or I've bought used over time, and now we have like a really good collection of gear that we can all use together.
I'm actually going to point out things that I think Alan did better than I did. And I think that with evolution, and also I mentioned like the difference between me being 17 versus maybe what I could put into something at the age of 30 is profound, including with like income or being able to be more artistic versus working with bare bones sort of materials, things, or effort. Including like at that time whenever I was doing it, I didn't have a PA for a long time, and people had to bring their own, or I know that I think I borrowed Jeff's and Matt Zagorski. I know he was always on the PAs or other things and let me borrow it all the time. Or like running sound, I didn't know how to do any of that. Alan's been teaching me more lately, so I can help in that regard. That's something I didn't learn, but watching them learn and do that and do things whenever we were much younger.
And to make sure to meet other people who are around, and I definitely try to encourage like a good sense of community and having everyone be on the same playing field. Like everyone's equal when they're here. There is no stage. Everyone is literally on the same level. All the bands hang out after they play. They'll hang out on the porch or hang out in the merch room. Everybody's just like everyone else, and I think that also helps encourage the idea that anybody in the crowd can do this. Anybody could start a band. Anybody can make some art, and anybody could be playing here. It's not some special thing. You don't have to have some. You don't have to be special. Everyone's the way. I kind of lost it. I'd be like, no one is special. Everyone is awful. Since we started doing shows, I've definitely seen and more people being interested in starting bands and making art and wanting to show those things off and being more involved in the local creative community. I've seen like 3 or 4 new bands starting who've had like really good success. I hear about more and more people being interested in starting projects. I get messages all the time. It's like, hey, do you know somebody who plays drums? Do you know someone who plays bass? Can you help me find other people? So I've done that a lot, and it's really cool. I love being the middleman and connecting some interested creative people to work on projects together.
Something that I always wanted to maintain, even whenever I had another space, was for like the fact that we are all on the same level. We can be involved. The band is not necessarily put as a separate thing, as a commodity, as an object. They are here involved, and it gives. I've had a lot of people over the years, musicians in particular, talk about how nice that is. And I think that as a viewer of those things too, it's nice too. We can interact and be human. It's not just do your job. I mean, they are doing something. They are performing and doing those things, but it allows for more humanity. I can't separate really the difference between the music and the community. There's also art and other things. Music is art. In many ways, this manifests itself as a music gallery, a place that is available for people to come to see that there are no other conditions. The condition isn't go to a bar and music happens to be playing. It is the reason for the space. So the community exists beyond this space. There's many people in the community who do other things that are beyond here or participate. But if you go into it with the idea that you wish to support your community, you wish to do these things, and you let people do what they love, it'll probably work out. When I started, I had a lot less, and it was a lot of people doing things themselves. I had a lot of people that would do the sound or other things like that. It wasn't just me doing something. I did a lot of backlining, making sure people were on time, organizational sort of stuff, and, you know, making sure they had a place to crash later. So you don't have to have all of the things here or set up. The community will also come to you.
Yeah, like I guess like, you know, what's the setup like?
The prep work, I guess. Okay. Yeah. So when I know that a show's coming up, like I mentioned before, I still work full time. Usually, the door opens at 6. That's when I imagine people will start showing up, and I usually don't get off work until like 3 or 4. So I don't have very much time from getting off work to prepping for the show. So I'll often like do a lot of that prep stuff the day before as much as possible, so that you know, I can manage things when the show's actually happening. So, you know, usually the bands start pulling in and they have to load in their gear, so I have to be ready to direct them to like where are we putting our amps, where are we putting our drums. So we have like a space in the kitchen where we can, you know, store some of those things, and then directing like where their van should be at, and things like that. And then as, you know, people come in, they have questions, so I need to be available too. I can't just spend my whole time setting up things. Yeah, when there's a show coming up, I try to make sure that all the mics are in place. I try to make sure that the amps are not in the way if they're not going to be used. I usually will send an email or a message to the bands, basically breaking down like what time is load in, what gear we have that's available, and I try to see if do they need a place to stay for the night, and like we welcome them to crash here if they need to, if they're on tour. And like I've been on tour before, and it's a really hard to come across certain things, like being able to do laundry easily, or like being able to cook for yourself or things like that, or even take a shower. Sometimes it's hard to find a spot to do that. So we definitely let bands know that they can take a shower here, they can do their laundry here, they can cook if they need to, whatever they need to like just recharge when they get back on the road. So if you're interested in keeping up with the house or anything, you can follow it on Instagram at Valdosta DIY House. There's also a link to the website, which is just a Linktree page, ValdostadIYHouse.com. There's the upcoming shows, ways to donate. There's a YouTube channel with videos of all the bands who've played here before. There's a Spotify playlist with music from all the bands who've played here before. So if you want to discover some new music, you could check out the Spotify playlist.
You can also check out DoDIY.org if you're looking for something in your community. They might have it up there. If you know of something in your community, please reach out to them. There are spaces around everywhere, and if you don't think there's one where you are, make one.